Bonjour, cher peuple africain. La situation au Niger aujourd'hui doit interpeller tout Africain. Je dis bien tout Africain, donc doit être interpellé par cette situation. Pourquoi? Parce que on ne peut pas continuer à laisser un pays, hein, qui se trouve au sud de l'Europe, comme ça, continuer euh, à diriger. Donc, à vassaliser donc, euh, à peu près combien de pays? 14 pays. hein. Après que les indépendances de ces pays-là soient prononcées il y a au-delà des 60 ans. Ça fait pas sens, pas du tout. Je lance un appel aux Africains et à tous les panafricanistes de se réveiller et d'essayer de faire quelque chose. Alors aujourd'hui, la question que nous nous posons, c'est est-ce que la France empêche-t-elle le développement de l'Afrique? Et la réponse est oui. Donc j'ai dit oui sans embâche, donc on n'a même pas besoin de se poser la question deux, trois fois. Non. Euh, je vais juste commencer avec les dirigeants italiens qui sont membres de l'Union européenne, qui sont européens comme le français. Mais vous vous rappelez, il y a de cela 2 ou 3 ans, donc les Italiens Matteo Salvini et Luigi Di Maio, qui étaient ministres dans le gouvernement italien, avaient accusé Paris d'appauvrir le continent africain avec le franc CFA et d'être responsable de la crise migratoire. Hein. Donc, alors il y a quelques années de cela, que le vice-président du Conseil italien, Matteo, voilà, je me souviens de son poste, et donc il était le vice-président du Conseil italien, Matteo Salvini, et l'autre qui était ministre est Luigi Di Maio. Ils avaient lancé de sévères attaques contre la France et Emmanuel Macron. Le représentant de l'État italien accusait notamment Paris d'appauvrir le continent africain avec le franc CFA qui n'a pour objectif, selon eux, euh, que de poursuivre une entreprise colonisatrice et ainsi aggraver la crise migratoire. Les quais d'Orsay, rappelez-vous, avait jugé le propos d'inacceptable et l'ambassadrice Teresa Castaldo fut immédiatement convoquée à Paris. Donc l'ambassadrice euh, italienne fut convoquée à Paris. Le gouvernement italien euh, alors, disons que, voilà, ça c'était le gouvernement italien, qui avait juste, euh, qui s'était plaint en fait, qui s'était plaint du fait que, voilà, il y avait beaucoup de migrants qui arrivaient de l'Afrique et que la cause de cette migration-là, c'était dû au fait que le pays africain francophone était tellement pauvre et qu'il ne parvenait pas à nourrir sa population. Donc ces pays-là ne parvenaient pas à nourrir leur population. Vous voyez. Alors je me souviens, dans le temps, l'Italie reprenait la diatribe contre le franc CFA. L'Italie disait que c'était une monnaie surévaluée, facilitant l'importation et qui n'avantageait pas l'industrialisation de 14 pays africains assujettis. Le défenseur du franc CFA néanmoins expliqué qu'il permettait de maintenir une stabilité en rapport avec la Banque centrale européenne, qui exige des règles budgétaires strictes et un taux d'inflation inférieur à 3%. Cette déposition économique donne un pouvoir infondé au gouvernement français qui peut arrêter toute transaction financière avec l'extérieur de chaque pays subordonné. Les pays subordonnés, c'est ces 2 pays comme le Niger, le Mali, le Burkina Faso, la Côte d'Ivoire, le Sénégal, ainsi de suite. Donc, tous ces pays, tous ces 14 pays africains, donc assujettis à l'économie française. Vous voyez? Donc, la souveraineté perdue des nations africaines peut nourrir quelques rancœurs envers la France. hein. Donc, parce que ce qu'on voit actuellement, avec ces coups d'État qui viennent de se passer au Niger, je crois que certains parmi nous, hein, qui ont eu l'occasion de suivre les émissions sur les chaînes françaises récemment, on pourrait convenir avec moi que la plupart de Français, même sur ces chaînes, ils pensent vraiment que leur pays a tant fait pour l'Afrique et que le fait qu'il y a ce qu'ils appellent sentiment anti-français, c'est dû au fait que les Africains ne sont pas reconnaissants. Vous voyez, donc, de bienfaits de Français. Mais quel paradoxe, quelle ironie, hein, quelle ironie. Le peuple français. Hein, je veux vous demander de vous réveiller un tout petit peu, hein, et puis de faire votre devoir comme ça c'est doit. Hein, donc, de lire un peu des livres d'histoire. Hein. Et quand je dis les livres d'histoire, ce ne sont pas les livres écrits par vos compatriotes occidentaux, non. Essayez de lire. Hein. Il y a des écrivains africains quand même qui continuent à écrire. Hein. Je connais qu'il y a des économistes camerounais qui ont écrit sur les méfaits du franc CFA. Quant à la domination de ces 14 pays qui sont assujettis à la France, il y a plein de livres là-dessus. Hein, donc, il y a beaucoup de livres qui ont été écrits là-dessus. Alors, je demanderai à nos frères occidentaux d'être un peu, disons, de se rabaisser un tout petit peu et de commencer à voir les choses en face. Hein. Vous voyez, ouais, parce que quand vous êtes dans une espèce je dirais, dans une espèce de boîte, hein, là vous êtes enfermé, et que vous ne voyez, vous ne savez pas ce qui se passe ailleurs, tout ça, et que vous vous dites que voilà, vous êtes allé dans de meilleures écoles, dans les meilleures universités, voilà, vous avez la meilleure formation, vous finissez toujours par vous abrutir comme ça. Hein. Je m'excuse, donc le mot peut sembler être fort, mais voilà, c'est tout ce que je peux dire. Parce que vous devez vous mettre à la place des Africains, un peuple qui a été meurtri pendant des années, vous voyez, dominé et pillé. Hein, et puis méprisé. Et nous nous rappelons tous dans les années 70-80, quand le narratif, vous voyez, donc appartenait seulement aux médias tels que France Inter, hein, RFI, TF1, et de l'autre côté de l'Atlantique, donc vous aviez CNN, hein, CBS, donc ça c'est aux États-Unis, et voilà, d'autres chaînes américaines là qui dominaient, hein, et aussi, sans oublier AFP, hein, Reuters, donc AFP en France, Reuters aux États-Unis, voilà, mais aujourd'hui les choses changent, vous voyez, il y a un éveil, hein, donc il y a vraiment un réveil donc, sur presque tout le point, donc les gens
Coming up on
sont en
Network
train
Africa,
d'acquérir de plus en plus.
Niger's junta closes country's airspace even as Mali and Burkina Faso plan on sending delegations. Italy asks regional bloc ECOWAS to give more time to Niger junta. Plus, jail Senegal opposition leader Ousmane Sonko admitted to hospital after hunger strike protest in prison. Welcome everyone to Network Africa. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. Niger's coup leaders have closed the country's airspace until further notice, citing the threat of military intervention from their neighbors. Flight tracking website Flat Radar 24 shows that there are currently no aircraft in Niger's skies. The West African group of countries, ECOWAS, had earlier warned it will use force if President Mohamed Bazoum was not reinstated by Sunday. It's unclear now what ECOWAS would do next, especially as the deadline has expired. However, a junta spokesperson says the armed forces are ready to defend the country. Meanwhile, on Sunday, thousands of supporters of the coup leaders flocked to the stadium in the capital, appearing undaunted by the threat of military intervention. On Niamey streets, there were also sporadic displays of support, but no signs of opposition to the junta, which has said it will not cave in to external pressure to stand down following the July 26 power grab. Rippling cheers greeted every sentence of a speech read by a representative of the new army-led administration to the packed crowd at the stadium, who stressed the junta's determination to stay in power, at least for now. In the meantime, Mali says it will send a joint delegation with Burkina Faso to Niger to express their solidarity for the country. The announcement comes a day after the generals who seized power defied the ultimatum to reinstate the elected president Mohamed Bazoum. Despite the ultimatum, it appears members of the regional grouping ECOWAS are divided on whether to take military action. Nigeria and Côte d'Ivoire are among those insisting that President Mohamed Bazoum must be reinstated. But the military governments in Mali and Burkina Faso have said that they would side with the coup leaders if they were attacked. As a result, France has suspended all development aid and budget support to Burkina Faso. Still on Niger, Italy is asking for more time given to the coup leaders. The foreign ministry has called on ECOWAS to extend the deadline issued. According to Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani, the only way is a diplomatic one. As a result of the country shutting down its airspace, international flights have been diverted or had to return to their country of origin. As a result of this, the army said it believes preparations to invade Niger had begun in 2 African countries, but gave no evidence, and ECOWAS is yet to make a statement on its next move since the deadline expired. Elsewhere, Italian and United States troops based in Niger have been extracted from Niamey and landed in Rome early on Sunday. In total, 75 soldiers landed in Pratica, the Mer airport, 65 Italians and 10 from the United States, which leaves a further 254 still in Niger to be withdrawn this week. The mixed troops are part of the bilateral support mission in the Republic of Niger, a training mission set up in 2018 to increase capabilities aimed at combating the phenomenon of illegal trafficking and security threats as part of the joint efforts by the European Union and the United States to make the area more stable. Well, despite the looming military intervention in Niger, citizens of the country remain unfazed by the ECOWAS ultimatum. Women, children and old people in Niamey took over roundabouts and road intersections on the way to the presidential palace on Saturday night into Sunday morning in support of the military and in defiance of international calls to reinstate President Mohamed Bazoum. They said ECOWAS forces would have to drive over their bodies to get to the presidential palace, blasting pro-military coup tunes and tooting vuvuzelas. Over 100 people set up a picket near an airbase in the capital, pledging to offer non-violent resistance in support of the new military administration. Well, it's almost 2 weeks since the military took over power in Niger, and the threat of regional war dangles in the air. Our next report by our foreign affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, highlights development in and around the country since the coup.
It has been nearly 2 weeks since a section of the Niger army toppled the government of Mohamed Bazoum and installed General Abdurrahman Tchani as the country's new military leader. But it is a development that has spurred regional power ECOWAS to move against it. Hours after the junta announced its takeover, ECOWAS chair and Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu, condemned the coup and called on the coup plotters to immediately release the democratically elected president. The coup would be the 7th on the continent, the 4th in West Africa, and the closest to Nigeria. A week later, ECOWAS convened an extraordinary meeting in the Nigerian capital, Abuja, Abuja, where they not only again condemned the coup, but also announced sanctions on Niger Republic. Among the sanctions itemized in ECOWAS communique were the closure of all air and land borders against Niger, the imposition of a no-fly zone over the country, freezing of Niger's accounts in the West African Economic Union, as well as in regional banks, and an ultimatum to the junta to reinstate Mohamed Bazoum as president. Bazoum, still under close surveillance by the junta, shared ECOWAS' decision, calling on the regional power as well as other foreign powers to ensure his reinstatement. ECOWAS also began considering military intervention in Niger. ECOWAS' 7-day ultimatum expires soon, and there's been no word on what happens next. Security consultant Dr. Luashe Aditayo says ECOWAS options are now limited.
When you are responding to coup d'etat or to unconstitutional government in a country, there are four ways or four approaches to this. One is for you to make a very hard rejection. Another one is a soft rejection. The third one is soft acceptance, and the last one is hard acceptance.
But other analysts call for caution. The Nigerian junta last week condemned ECOWAS sanctions as inhumane, and the Mali and Burkina Faso juntas say any military intervention by ECOWAS will be seen as a declaration of war.
I thought we should be more circumspect in deciding military actions, particularly given the fact that in the last 10 or so years, our own military have had issues trying to resolve the insecurity in Nigeria, particularly in the northeast. And as of today, the Nigerian military, I think it's in 32 out of the 36 states. So already our military is overstretched.
Later in the week, on the streets of the Nigerian capital, Niamey, supporters of the junta protested ECOWAS sanctions, celebrated the evacuation of foreign nationals from the country, and the 63rd anniversary of Niger's independence from France. The self-declared new leader of Niger says the junta will not bow to pressure to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. General Abdurrahman Tchiani later said Niger is on transitional path to democratic elections. In his statewide televised address, he said they'd always been humble enough to listen to all parties concerned and open to dialogue, so that once everyone's emotions have subsided, they can work together to create the conditions for a peaceful transition, leading in a short and reasonable time to general elections. So ideally, it does appear the junta has a plan to restore civilian rule. Whether it will include Mohamed Bazoum is yet to be decided. The onus now is on ECOWAS to explore more options to convince the junta out of power, or unilaterally prepare for war, not only with Niger, but with Mali and Burkina Faso, which have declared support and allegiance to each other. Amarachi Ubani, Channel Television News.
Joining us now is security analyst Temitope Olodo. He joins us from London. Glad to have you on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's begin with your thoughts on the alliance we are seeing from the military governments in Mali and, of course, Burkina Faso. Both countries plan on sending their delegation to Niger in the wake of the expiration of the ECOWAS deadline.
I'm not surprised they themselves have been taken over by a military coup. So, of course, that's what they will do. And I wasn't expecting anything different. I think it's important for our viewers to understand that coup is not a democratic way of changing government. There is an opportunity to go to the ballot. And if indeed this coup was meant to be legitimate, within 1 week of them taking over, they could easily have put in an interior government made up of civilians, to usher in a new timetable for a peaceful civilian election. They've not done that. They just wanted to just do what they want to do and not listen to other people. And I think that will lead to their downfall. There is no doubt that they cannot
Vous voyez,
face the might
alors
of
revenons au cas
ECOWAS, which is
du
supported
Niger.
by the United Nations.
Donc,
Let's be
le cas
clear.
du Niger, ça fait
The
très
big
mal, ça
nations
fait
of the
très
world
mal.
are
Un
in support
pays qui est
of
sixième
Nigeria
producteur
and its
d'uranium au niveau
co-colleagues
mondial,
or the
mais
Nigerian
qui
government
vit
and other countries that are
donc de
actually
40%
looking
d'aide.
at
Vous
making
imaginez?
sure that
Donc,
military coup becomes
les Nigériens aident,
an issue of the
tout ce qu'ils
past
font,
in
c'est attendre
Africa
l'aide de l'extérieur.
or West Africa.
Et
To put it that way.
Yes, and as we have just reported, it does seem that, we don't know when, but the military government now in Niger is, honest about eventually bringing in a civilian government. We just don't know when that will take place. How much longer do you think ECOWAS should give the Nigerian government in, resolving this issue with, removing the former President Bazoum?
There's no doubt that there are conversations going on behind the scenes that we're not privileged to because we're not head of states or leaders of the world. There is conversation that is going on. As far as Niger does not make a fatal mistake of massing troops or moving troops. If there is any indication over the satellite images showing that they are either moving moving weapons of any sort or military formations towards the Nigerian border, I can reassure them and everyone that is watching us right now that the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, President Bola Tinubu, will not be left with no other option to call on the service chief, to make the first strike. And that will be justified under international law. If they are moving towards our border, either in Katsina or our border in Sokoto or the other. So there's no doubt about that. And there's no doubt that they do not have the military mind. And I don't want people to think because of the previous security challenges we have in Nigeria, because of that Nigeria military is weak or that we could be stepped upon by any other country. We are a big nation, a great nation, great people, and of course we are not looking for trouble. We only just say allow democratic practice to continue in that country, even if you feel that there is a living cost problem that's affecting every country in the world. If you are insisting on that, then countries like Nigeria and all the other countries should also be taken over by coup planters. We don't want that. If there are situations, they should use their parliament and use democratic means to kick out, legitimate government that be put in place.
Right. So how easy will that be? We understand what the ground troops can do because of the various borders we share with Niger Republic. But now that Niger has closed its airspace, not only are international flights affected, but what can the Nigerian Air Force or other units, Air Force units of other armies do to go ahead with possible military intervention with the airspace closed already?
Closing the airspace does not stop missiles from landing in their country. Let's be very clear about that. Missiles can be sent from the Atlantic Ocean or from any of those places. There is no intention. Nobody would send Air Force there without neutralizing their air defense system. And we know that was what happened in Iraq. That was what happened with Mali, with Libya. They just sent in some cruise missiles with the help of the Americans to neutralize one or two infrastructures just to show them that they mean business. And all these guys will go hiding under their little places that they've created. I am quite sure that it will not lead. There is possibility that we're not going to go down that way. The minute the ECOWAS will not back down, they themselves might not back down, but they might be looking for a third avenue to resolve this issue, which is if they come out and say, there's going to be a handover to a civilian interim government within the next 2-3 weeks or something like that, and then you see a lot of countries come down to say, ECOWAS, back down, if they're handing over to civilians. civilian or a church civilian military body that would organize an election, then that is fine. But if they do not come up with such a solution within the...
Réunis sur leur campus de la capitale, les étudiants ont manifesté leur soutien aux militaires à l'origine du coup d'État contre le président Mohamed Bazoum.
C'est honteux de vous voir donc vous mettre ensemble pour réprimander un peuple qui essaie de se libérer, qui essaie de s'affranchir de la domination européenne, et que vous continuez à encourager, comme je le dis encore, des pays tels que le Congo-Brazzaville, le Gabon, les Togo. Et la liste est longue, la liste est longue dans ces pays francophones. En tout cas, aujourd'hui, je me limite par ici. Merci d'avoir suivi ma vidéo.
Certains étudiants inquiets pour la sécurité des citoyens ont abordé la nécessité d'être